What is good, my anime people? What is good, yo? So we have more on the cheat magician himself, and boy, is it getting interesting. We finally got to the person who summoned all of them in the first place, so not only have we gotten there, it's starting to make a little bit more sense as to why a certain person kind of knew about these people being like the chosen, and not only the chosen, but wanting to test their uh, powers out on, just what they can already do, what they're already taught. But not only that, why did he know something like that, or why did he even have a guess that there would be people out there like them. And this makes a lot of sense now that we know he's literally side by side with, the woman who summoned them, knowing, that they were sent out somewhere completely different than into the castle or the kingdom that they're supposed to be summoning. He had a good idea that there were some people out in nowhere that could have already died, sure, but to be fair, they could have also already learned something. So I think this is more of him trying to save himself in the case of like, I don't want my enemies to get that strong. And if my enemies do get that strong, I want to know what they've learned so I can maybe counteract it. Hence why once we saw one guy using a magic that was completely like, supposedly supposed to overpower um, our main characters, he was so happy, he's like, "Oh, I got the infinity to beat your infinity." So, yeah, like that was just his overall go-to thing until you find out that, oh, you have a magic that's weaker than my magic, but because you're so strong, it didn't matter. So, okay, I lose. Like, oh, so I didn't stand a chance at all. Okay, that sucks. I really hope these guys are the drifters and I get the helmet because that would be amazing sauce. But overall, the Cheat Magician show is, I don't know, man. Like, I feel like it's been going quite slow, but when it gets to this stuff or last week's stuff, it was going quite fast, and then now we're back to the slow, and I feel like there's got to be more source material out there for this show. Like, there's got to be more like capable season material out there. Just a feeling on how actually like slow they took the very first part, or maybe vice versa. Like there isn't that much out there, and that's why they actually took this slow approach, so it would actually feel like they're not trying to rush anything that doesn't need to be rushed because there isn't much to rush into in the first place. So I don't know. I'm just definitely kind of glad they're getting, um, some of the more stuff that I saw as like would have been nice to know early on. They're getting that stuff out of the way. Like, what has the priestess been doing this whole time since she summoned these people and knew there was people out there being summoned into a field of monsters, but yet she's just now sending somebody out to check on, or not check, but to summon them, which she did say she did just find them, right? So there's that for you. She's quote unquote been looking for them this whole time, supposedly, and having people search around. So once they heard that a kingdom was attacked by a horde of monsters, and there was probably like, the 3 or 4 people they were talking about most about that were on the front line to stop them from making it far, that's a good reason for me to have them, know or not known, but to be heard of at least enough to be picked up, right? Or not picked up, but to at least have someone check into it, and then to hear that someone like, saw him summon or something like that, or maybe didn't even see him summon, but they saw him like just completely punch a giant monster that no one could even break the scales of, and he comes in and punches it, and literally destroys it, yeah, that's a pretty good speaking point, and that's also what she expected her summons to do once she summoned these people, is to be able to defeat things that maybe seemed undefeatable, but with the right people around, all of a sudden it's possible. So, I don't know. Still very, very interested in what they do with this show overall. We now have seen these guys save one of the priestess or the summoner girl who brought them here, brought the girl who she sent to get them. They already saved her. We know that the main wizard girl that taught our characters mostly everything has a pretty good relationship to talk casually to the king, so she's clearly been summoned before and probably has done some stuff for the kingdom to help them out. Um, and then not only all of that, you also have the fact where there's just not a lot for these characters to get away with when it comes down to um, the people in this kingdom. Like, what can they get away with, and why did they do this during the summoning? Like, are they trying to take over the kingdom, and they didn't want any people strong enough to be summoned in to stop them, or are they just doing this in spite of, you know, having no real reason or cause, and they're just doing it because, hey, we have the power, we have the necessary forces, so let's just take out our own teams and stuff. Screw it, man. I'm not sure if that's what's going on, but it feels like it, right? It feels like something ominous is going on. Oh, is this the trading thing? Yeah, it is. I don't have a teammate though. But yeah, I want to see. Oh, that's the mask I want. You punk. Um, there's a lot I want to see when it comes down, and when it comes down to this show, I definitely, definitely. Oh, I killed a man for it. Yes, much. Give it here. What will he give me? Why should I? I'm killing him. How dare you talk trash to me like that? Wait a minute. I think I needed to do that actually. But yeah, we've seen quite the bit of stuff when it comes down to just what they're doing to push the narrative forward for our character. I mean, not only has he kind of like shown us how ridiculously powerful he is, but there's not a lot of people that have actually gone on record to be like, "Oh yeah, they were just as strong as you." Like we never heard any stories about other people that could have been in his position. It almost sounds like there was somebody, or there's somebody they knew that might be able to do this type of stuff, but they didn't fully ever meet somebody like that, right? Or something along those lines. I can't really tell because the way that he's being treated and the way that people are hearing about him is, curious. Like, not only did they hear about this person who is, this ridiculously strong kid, but he then comes and bodies your best fighter with the sword, like in you know, her best fighting style, or not style, but the way that she usually fights, and she still can't do really anything, right? Like she can't really stop him from winning. And that's the thing that kind of uh, blew up in my. Not only, okay, so he didn't only beat her by, using really weapons and fighting styles that she uses. He also thought about it mid-fight, and he was like, huh, I shouldn't summon up my spirit because I'll probably kill this chick. So I guess I'll just power up my fist and beat her up that way. Like, that was literally his thought process throughout this fight, and pulled it off flawlessly. um, I don't know. I thought that was a pretty funny point of just how much of a cheat he already knows he is, and how much of a cheat he continues to show us he is. And I have no problem with it, man. Like, flex that power all you want. Flex it off. Flex it off. It's just when it comes down to the overall narrative of this story, it feels like a lot's going on, without that much actually really going on. Like, this episode really didn't have much going on, but with everything we learned, everything we see, like, the bad guy is literally inside of these guys' kingdom, and he's the reason why a whole horde of monsters practically attacked another kingdom and stuff like that. So we got people inside or inside of this place causing the problems. Not to mention, he's walking around at times where our characters are probably sleeping and not able to see him because they have met him already. So it's not like they see him and they be like, "Who are you? And you seem like a nice guy." No, they met one of them. The girl with the magic has met this guy, so that puts her on a much more dangerous playing field for that character in general to be spotted by him. Regardless of that, though, I think he could probably play it off and be like, "I have no idea what she's talking about. I would never attack, harm, or do anything to people like that. I am a church man." So we'll see how that plays out. I do love that aspect of just sprinkle in a little bit of crazy and have them right underneath your nose the whole time, even if you don't notice it. So, with all that being said, I hope you guys have an amazing day, night, evening, whatever the case may be. Excuse me. And I will definitely talk to you in the next one. So, with that being said, peace. Let's open up the dungeon doors.